transformative episode of She Decides, host Staci Swiderski sits down with Sarrah Rose, premier intimacy coach, entrepreneur, and founder of Elixr, the AI-powered love app that's reshaping how we experience self-love, dating, and relationships. Over the past decade, Sarrah has personally coached more than 2,500 individuals, including CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies, and built two thriving coaching companies, earning recognition in Bloomberg, Business Insider, and Men's Health. Now she's bringing her expertise to the world through Elixr, a love coaching platform designed to guide people through every stage of the emotional journey. With its proprietary, evidence-based curriculum, Elixr helps members strengthen emotional intelligence, build confidence, and navigate friendships, dating, intimacy, and breakups with resilience and grace. Sarah's message is clear: love is our birthright. Whether it's self-love, romantic love, or the love of deep friendships, we were born to experience it all. This episode is a powerful reminder that when she decides to embrace love in all its forms, she transforms not only her relationships, but her entire life. You know who made it.
Welcome, everybody, to our next episode of She Decides. I am your host, Staci Swiderski, and we are really excited to introduce our amazing guest this morning, Sarrah Rose. She's so much you have accomplished, but you built and led two successful coaching companies, and we're here to learn more about it and as much as we can within the next hour or so. So I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to ask you tons of questions for our listeners. And I know this is going to be a fantastic episode. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've coached thousands of people, including CEOs as well, on love and intimacy. What's the number one, do you feel, the number one emotional blind spot that even the most powerful people have when it comes to relationships? And I would think even not even intimacy, but like relationships in general, right?
Yeah, and that's where intimacy starts is in our relationships and in our relationship with ourself. And so that's where my coaching always begins, is more about us and what we believe that we're worthy of, what we believe we're deserving of in relationships, and what's most important to us. Do we really come from this perspective of needing acceptance and belonging in a relationship? Do we need safety, emotional safety? Do we need love? Most people need one of those the most. We need all three, but there's typically one that's prominent for people. And then what do we believe that we deserve and that we're worthy of in that area? And what that impacts what we allow ourselves to receive from the people that we're engaging with. So, if you're out there dating and you think, well, I'm only deserving of somebody who treats me poorly, then that's what you're going to allow into your life.
Kind of settle
But
for
if
that.
yeah, but if you believe and you've done self-love work and you understand yourself and you've, evolved your beliefs about what you deserve, then you'll be able to accept that.
And I know you've been coaching individuals. Do you also do obviously couples as well, and for well over a decade?
Yes, I've been coaching since 2013, and I have worked with some couples, but primarily my work has always been with individuals, either within a group setting or one-on-one. And like I said, it really does start with our relationship with ourselves, and then that's how we can move forward into intimate relationships with others.
So what inspired you then to create Elixir? I mean, it's pretty amazing that, that I'm sure you also seeing the transformation when you start working with somebody, and how long is typically your ongoing process of working with somebody? What's the longevity look like there?
It depends. So I think the people see big progress in the first 6 months, but it's also a pretty big learning curve in that 6 month period. So there's a lot of information that's coming at people that they're exploring these aspects of themselves that they haven't explored before. And so then about 6 months later, about a year into the process, it's like, oh, okay, now I've learned all this and it's really unfolded and I see the results in my life. So they see results earlier, but about that year point is when people are really like, yeah, I get it. Like now I can reflect back and see how different my life is now.
Yeah. And then during this time, are you in frequent communication with them? And if so, like how often?
Yeah, so at least once a week, but
Oh,
typically more than that. Like, so with my private clients, I work with them once a week, but then throughout the week, they'll be in touch as well.
oh wow. So you are busy, busy. How many
Yeah.
clients do you typically have at one time?
Well, again, that depends on if it's group coaching or if it's one-on-one coaching. So, if I'm doing private coaching, I typically work with 10 clients at a time. In that capacity, group coaching can be a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you feel, you built two successful companies. What's the biggest lesson that you feel like for an entrepreneur has taught you about yourself?
Resilience, and
Mhm.
that's the name of the game in business, right? So it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
yep.
what type of business you're running, you just have to keep showing up, keep going. And yeah, don't become an entrepreneur unless you're ready for that.
Right. And I also feel that it's important that obviously you're really good at what you do, right? And that you
Yeah.
like it. I think I've been hearing a lot of individuals or entrepreneurs that say that, they have that passion is great. It's great to have a passion for what we're doing, but I think you also have to, you have to be good at it as well, right? To be successful for sure. Um,
Mm.
so can you share a little bit more about Elixr and how is it different from like the sea of dating and wellness apps that are out there? I feel like, there's apps out there and how is it a little different?
Yeah, so Elixir has there's the five pillars of Elixir. Actually, we've recently expanded that, so it's more than five now. But it's self-love, friendships, dating, romantic relationships, sexuality, and breakups. We added in breakups
You
because
added
we
in that
felt
sixth
like
one.
yeah, it's such an important part of being in a relationship. You also have to know when it's time to end and how to do that well. So breakups are now a part of Elixir. And then within that, there's these essences. So we all carry with us an essence of how we relate. And for some people, they're more instinctual. Some people are more creative. Some people are looking for that power dynamic in a relationship. You've got others who are very heart centered and they connect from that place. Some people love to communicate and that's their power. You've got others who want this mindful connection with the person they're with, and other people really want a spiritual connection. And so we give this assessment to our members to help them see where they relate from or where they want to be relating from in a relationship, and then support them to develop that. And then also add in these other areas. Okay, well, maybe you're really good at having a spiritual connection with somebody, but you struggle when it comes to power and having boundaries and helping people develop that aspect of themselves if they feel like they're struggling there.
Right. And it reminds me a lot of that book from years ago, the different love languages, and what really makes people feel fulfilled.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I can imagine like kind of cracking that code, right? When you're in a
Mhm.
relationship. Do you find that most of your clients, are they single, dating, married? Do you see
It's all of it.
yeah,
So, and even people who are like, I just want to take care of myself. I'm not interested in dating right now.
yeah.
people who are in friend relationships that they're struggling with. That's a big deal throughout. You see it in middle school, through high school, through college, even when we're adults. It's like, how do we navigate friendships? And so supporting people there as well. So it's a whole spectrum of love. Love shows up in many different ways, and we help people.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you mentioned that about the friendships because, especially now with people being so busy, or maybe they have children, or maybe they don't, and it's just two totally different lifestyles. And oftentimes you feel like it's one sided. I mean, I felt like that with, friends at times. You feel like you're constantly reaching out and they're just too busy. And then you're just like, well, what's the point if they're not going to make time? But yeah, like really trying to understand, I think that, what is the capacity behind, do they really mean that, or are they just, and the communication style too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and
that's,
and that evolves as well, right? As we get older and as our lives change, friendships evolve, and sometimes that's okay.
yeah, it's okay. I think it's kind of,
Yeah.
people come into your life, certain periods of, different time periods, and maybe it's only for a short time and maybe it's for the rest of your life. But yeah, I think it's important. I like that. So you talk about love being a birthright. Let's talk a little bit more about that. And how do you explain that, or what do you say to women who feel kind of disconnected from that?
Yeah, it is something that we all deserve. We all deserve to have love. And if we don't believe that, if we have limiting beliefs around that, then that's what we do at Elixir. We help people explore, okay, why do you think you're not worthy of love? Where does that come from? And just stepping into that. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic love.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be sexual love. It
Mm-hmm.
might be, but for some people, if that's just not for them, that's okay. But loving yourself, having friendships again, and also loving yourself enough to know whether or not romantic relationship really is for you. And that doesn't mean that, there's something wrong with you. You're not broken if it's not. And again, you may evolve. Right now, maybe it's a no, maybe later it's a yes, and maybe not. But Elixir is definitely not about one size fits all. We're not here to coach people to become our version of what love is. It's exploring that for yourself and finding the love that's right for you.
Yeah, and do you feel that a lot of people, they they feel like they do have to fit in? Like, say if they're single and they're just, all their friends are, their close friends or even their family are in relationships, and how do you think that affects them, like just in the everyday, with their careers even, and with the coaching? I'm sure that obviously it's, you're an expert at that. But do you think that they eventually accept it if that's just, that's who they are, and it's okay to, if they don't want to be dating, or marriage is not in their, their future, and they're okay with that? Because I think, especially
Yeah.
with social media now, I think there's so much pressure to kind of like fit in, and all of that, and that's kind of what we're here for. We want to, empower women that it's okay to be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can imagine that definitely it's affecting all aspects of their life, right? If, they don't feel like they're fitting in somewhere.
You're right.
Uh,
And sorry, go ahead.
no, no, you please go ahead. I was going to ask you
Okay.
another question, but I want to kind of, if you
Oh,
have
yeah.
something to add on that, super important.
No, I was just gonna say we do, especially women, receive so many cultural messages around what it means to be right. And the bar is always changing, and you never are right. You're never going to be right in your career. You're never gonna be right as a mother. You're never gonna be right how you look, because society's always gonna tell you that you're wrong, and it doesn't matter what you do or how hard you try. And so that's just the sad reality of the world we live in as women. And so, it's finding that in ourselves, the confidence and the comfort of, yes, I'm right for me. I am perfect just as I am. And it doesn't matter what society says about me or what religion says I should be. And, so that confidence of just building that belief in oneself. And okay, well, relationships are or aren't for me, and that's fine. I think there's been a lot of progress that we have seen around empowering women that are single, and that's, again, you also see backlash to it. We get so far, and then we come back again, and the pendulum is always swinging.
Always.
But I always, but I do think we've made progress there, and there's not as much stigma, but it definitely, you're only allowed into certain parts of society if you're in a relationship or if you're single, right? Like it's very segmented. There's the couples that live in this world and the single people that live in that world, and there's often not a lot of overlap, and it's not fun, and it's not nice, and it's not cool. And
Right. It's not
all we
cool. There you go. Yes. I love that. And I think too, having confidence is important, but of course there's a lot of people that lack the confidence, but I think as long as they can accept the fact that regardless, people are going to always have opinions. Who cares, right? You do you, right? And your
Mhm.
confidence will eventually build for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
and again, you build that resilience, and
yeah.
and sometimes confidence, is it confidence, or is it just, what, I'm tired of fighting this, and
You're
I'm
like,
just
I'm
going to be
good.
me. And like, I think sometimes even that comes with age of just like, yeah, well, whatever. Like I'm not going to win the game of like trying to please everybody. So you're just like, I'm going to be me.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love me or not, here I am. Here I
Yeah.
am. So, speaking of that self-love, I feel right now it's like such a buzzword, right? Hashtag in it, you see it all over, but how do you define it in more of a practical way, like a real world way?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that at Elixr. I've got a team of coaches that I work with. And when we were developing the self-love aspect of our curriculum, that was really it. Like, how do we take this sort of abstract, trendy word and make it concrete in a way something can experience? And it's something that I've led clients through trying
Hmm.
to understand that, because for many people that I've worked with, they didn't even have a reference point to love, to just, this sense of overwhelming love. And so, we would look for areas in their life. Okay, did you ever feel from a grandparent that you had just pure love? I don't like the word unconditional love. Everything's conditional.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yes.
But maybe it's a pet, and often the pet one works really well. Did you ever have a pet, a cat or a dog, that you just felt so much love for? And that might be the closest to unconditional, no expectations, just exist, and I'm happy,
Yes.
and
Yep. Yep.
it just and so taking that as a reference point and then bringing it inside and working on trying to love yourself in that way, showing up for yourself in the way that you show up for your pet. Of course, I want to make sure my pet is, happy and comfortable and purring and cozy, right? And you do the things that just because you love your pet. And so just bringing that, whatever reference point it may be for you, bring it inside, and those feelings that you have felt externally for this pet or for this grandparent, or that you felt from them, bring that inside. And it's the sensations that are important. Do you feel warm? Do you feel tingling? Do you feel buzzing? Do you feel bubbling? Like, what are the sensations? Not necessarily the emotions or the thoughts, but what are the sensations that you feel? And
Mm.
once you can remember, okay, I felt that at this time, and you bring that inside and you feel those sensations again, then you can develop those and build those. And it takes repetition. Like, you've got to keep showing up and doing it, because for most of us, it's not our natural tendency to be loving
Right.
towards ourselves, where most of us are highly critical. We've got a lot of this internal dialogue that's bringing us down. And it's a choice to keep showing up in love.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we are our own like worst enemies as far as putting, we're our last priorities, ourselves. So yeah, definitely showing
Yeah.
up for ourselves and taking care of ourselves, I think is so important because how do you give love really when you can't love yourself? Because then you're always stressed out or yeah, and I think too, you also have to be able to accept love, right? Like not just
Mhm.
give it, but accept it and be open to that. Do you find a lot
Yeah.
of people that have a hard time doing that? Whether it is from it
Oh,
could be a
for
family
sure.
member, a friend, spouse. Yeah, yeah, I can
Yes,
imagine.
absolutely. And it's the sad irony is the thing that we most often say we want is the thing that we also push away. And
Mm,
so, if we're saying I want love, we'll often push away those who are trying to give us love, those who are showing up in love because of the beliefs that we have about ourselves that, we don't deserve it or we're not worthy of it. We want it, but we can't accept it.
that is so true. So true. That's a great point. Great point. So, what role do you like? Do you feel boundaries play in building like healthy relationships, and how can women get better at setting them without guilt?
Yeah, so I interesting thing about guilt is that often guilt is a way of making us feel important, right? Like we hold on
Mm,
to this guilt of I can't do that because, I if I'm a mother, I can't have a career. This is a, extreme example, but because,
hmm.
I feel guilty that I won't be there for my children. Well,
I
okay,
hear that a
really
lot.
examine that. Like how much of that is actually this identity of self-importance being wrapped up in the role of, I have to be there. I have to self-sacrifice. Do I have, I have to be the martyr for my children. And so, is it really about them or is it about you and your identity and your,
Mm.
what you believe that, you need to, and this is part of shadow work, and shadow work is tricky because people can take a lot of offense to it of like, what do you mean? Like, how can you say that's self-serving? But this is where our minds play tricks on us, and it's really understanding our own minds is one of the most empowering things we can do. So when people show up with converse around the with the guilt conversation, we often go there and start to explore that. Like, is it really guilt? Or is this something about you needing to show up in this way, and this is the identity you want to play?
Yeah, I think that's a really great analogy and explanation around that because I see it all the time for using the say a career for women and they do feel guilty for say they have a career and they have to travel and they're they're at a conference and they're gone from 2 or 3 days and they have to do what they have to do but then they feel that sense of guilt because they're not home to be a mom or partner, spouse or what have you. And I think most important, as long as you are a good example, right? I mean, as far as like you're happy, I think that's probably one of the best examples is when you're happy because when you're happy,
Hmm.
you're trying to make everybody else around you happy,
Yeah,
right? It just kind of probably flows a little more naturally, I would think, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I think that guilt is pretty it's pretty strong for sure. Um, so in your, in your work with working with high achieving clients, especially, what's something that they often get wrong um, about balancing like the ambition with intimacy?
Balance. So for people who, and this is for anybody that is,
Yeah.
we're all, I shouldn't say all, but most people are working really, really hard, and they're
Right,
trying
right.
to figure it all out.
They're
And
just spread so thin. Um, whatever it may be.
Exactly. And so I think it's more about doing it well than trying to do more of it, because time is what it is, and sometimes you do just have to make the time, and there's no other way to
Yeah.
go about it. But when you make the time, also doing it well. And I think that's where a lot of people actually get it wrong, is they think, oh well, I set up the time to do, XYZ with my kids or with my spouse, and it didn't go anywhere. And, I feel like I tried, but, nobody appreciated it. Well, maybe you didn't do it well. Right. And
Mm,
showing up with intention and being able to connect when you're there, that's what's more important. I often hear stories of people who are like, my dad traveled all the time when I was a kid, but I really remember this time when we connected around this, or we connected around that. And those moments of connection that mattered.
yeah, like you said, the
Excuse me,
intention,
sorry.
like showing
Water.
up with intention, and I think that's really what what people see. So you don't have to be there every single time. You don't have to physically show up every single time for something, but when you're there, you are there, and it's with intention. And you're right. I think that's really what people will remember from that relationship for sure. So from private coaching to a tech platform, which tech is just, isn't it just crazy? Like how everything is so tech today, everything. How did you make the leap from that, from the like the one-on-one to that scalable impact?
Yeah, I just decided that that was what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to create, was a legacy, and really take this incredible coaching method that I've seen transform lives and make it available to anybody that wants to access it. And we're fortunate to live in a time where technology
Mhm.
exists that can help us do that. So yeah, I brought in a tech team because that wasn't my expertise, and worked with
Same
them
here.
to yeah, to build the app and do the technical side of things. And yeah, they were great. And yeah, that was it. I'm very fortunate to have a strong network of amazing business advisors that supported me on the business side. And yeah, we just put a lot of work into it.
How long did that take you to start, from start to finish for the app?
Oh, that was about 6 months.
I was gonna say, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
do you find that to be is that utilized more than other forms of communication?
Is the app used more than
Right, yeah, because I'm
uh
just thinking like, website versus app. It always says download our app, and some people are just so, they're just go to the website, go to the website. I'm kind of guilty of that until then I finally download the app. I'm like, oh, this is so much better. So have you
right?
noticed a difference or like increasement of communication or clientele with the app?
Yes, so
I
so we
bet.
don't so with Elixir, we don't do any communication through the website, so it is all through
Mm.
the app. So
Oh, it's
yeah, when
100%.
people exactly. So we do have the website just for informational purposes, but in order to work with our coaches, it's through the
You
app.
go. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many coaches do you have
We
at
have
Elixir?
6 coaches on our team, and then plus myself and our director of coaching. So there's 8 of us total. We do group workshops, we do group coaching programs. Our coaches make incredible video content as well. So if there's a
Mm,
specific topic that people want to go deep around, they can just watch some videos around that. And then we have the AI chatbot that's trained
mm-hmm.
in our coaching method, and that's available 24/7. So people really like that because, say you're in the middle of a date and you feel stressed out and you don't know what to do, you need to self regulate. you can actually access the app and go through a quick practice that'll help you self-soothe and self-regulate and give you some insight into why you're feeling this way. And then you can decide, do I want to go back out there, continue this date? Do I want to end this date? Things like that. Or if you're struggling with your partner and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and it's been a long argument and you just need some feedback. And again, that self-soothing, that self-regulation, the app, the chatbot in the app will actually guide you through practices on the spot to help with that.
Wow, that's incredible. So yeah, I'm just picturing it now. You're in the middle of a date and you're just like, I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. And then use the washroom and just go on that app and you come back like just completely probably in a better headspace to where, what you're going to navigate next. So yeah, that's impressive. I wish they had those
Yeah.
back in the day when I was. That's pretty incredible. So, how do you personally stay grounded in your own love and wellness journey while leading such an emotionally intense business?
Yeah, taking care of myself is important. I'm fortunate
Yeah,
to be engaged in my partner. He is very supportive as well, and we just take time for ourselves and make sure that we connect and keep everything alive inside of us that I'm
yeah,
teaching at Elixr.
yeah, for sure. Do you have like how do you handle your boundaries? Because I can imagine a lot of your clients that you are coaching, do they want to contact you at all times of the day, or are they pretty good about, I guess, respecting your boundaries? And how does that work?
Well, that
How do you shut it
depends.
off?
Yeah, so with private coaching, it's that I don't think it's not a boundary issue. It's more of that's the job is to show up and to be available to my
Mm,
clients when they need it, and they're around the world, different schedules. So that's just part of the job. With Elixir, it's a little bit, I'm not actually doing coaching through Elixir, but like I said, we've got the group workshops that are at a
hmm.
certain time. We also have a book club, which is a lot of fun. We're like diving into juicy books on relationships and dating and sexuality, and so there's definitely a different aspect of it there, but just running companies, you have to be available. So
Right, right. Yeah, you have to be available. And I think really people expect you to be available with, our work is right at our fingertips now, right?
yeah.
For sure. Do you ever meet any of the clients in person, or is it typically always remote?
Mostly it's remote with private clients. I've definitely gotten to know them, in person as well. So it just depends where people live, if they're traveling
Yeah.
into New York or whatever. Yeah.
Oh. So what is one thing that you would want every woman to know that's listening to this episode to remember about love, no matter where they are in their journey, and any kind of
If
love,
you
just love.
Yeah, if you want it, you can have it. There's love for everybody. And love, it's part of our biology. It's part of what we're wired for. Love is all around us. I think a lot of times people will make, I don't know if make excuses is necessarily the right word, but find reasons why they can't have love or why love isn't available for them or to them at that time. And it's like, okay, well, then maybe the time just isn't right for you. Maybe you just actually don't want it right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But coming to that peace within oneself. But if you want love, it is available. I mean, it is literally what we are wired for as humans. Our biology is designed for us to experience love. So we can all have it.
Right, right. I Do you ever hear people say, "Well, I'm just not a social person. I just, I like to keep to myself. I like to stay in my own lane." And it's almost like, are they not opening themselves up? I just think that would become a pretty lonely place. If when people continue to do that. But I agree with you that like we were kind of born to love and be loved.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely are. And I mean, I've worked with clients who are very introverted and they find somebody who is also very introverted and that works for them.
Mm.
Like they're fine to meet up with this person once a month and watch some movies all day, and that works. That's the
And
type
that
of
makes them happy.
relationship they are happy, and so just there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah, that's a for sure true saying. I believe in that as well. So, all right. So, what I love to do is get into some this or that rapid fire questions at the end of
Okay,
our episode. These are just fun, not necessarily related to our profession, but just fun, get to know you type questions. So, we ready?
cool.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So, the first one: what's the most New York City thing about your daily routine?
Well, ordering everything. Yeah. I,
DoorDash,
I think
everything.
e- everything. It's like you need toilet paper, toothpaste, lip gloss, whatever it is, and multiple times a day.
It's all about convenience. Yes, it's funny because
Yes.
back in the day, I never watched. I just really didn't like the Sex and the City. That whole show. But now, like for the last probably 3, 4, 5 years, I'm just addicted to it. So like when it's a marathon at night, like it's just because it's all in New York. So it's just
Yeah.
when I read that question, that's the first thing I thought of is, is that show. Um, all right. The second one is, what do you prefer, self help book or solo weekend retreat?
Solo weekend retreat.
I agree with you on that one. Yes. All right. The third one. These are always cute. One fashion item that makes you feel unstoppable.
I got a new Louis Vuitton bag last year when they brought the denim on denim back,
Mm,
and yeah, I love it.
yeah. That's a good choice too. I didn't get that, but I love the whole denim and yeah, that's they're gorgeous. Okay, so this is an easy one. What is your favorite food?
Favorite food is probably pizza. I don't eat it a
Yeah,
lot, but I do love New York pizza.
New York pizza. Yep. All right, a few more. What's one thing you always have in your bag besides your phone, of course?
In my bag, my daughter's EpiPen.
You gotta have that. You never know when you're gonna
Yeah.
need that one.
Yes.
All right, two more. What is a green flag? Not a red flag, but what's a green flag in someone that people often overlook?
I think the biggest green flag is somebody who is willing to show up. They do what they say they're going to do. They put in the extra effort. You don't feel like it's one-sided. They show up. They're there.
Yeah, that's important. That's a good one. Um, all right, the last, not least, you can only give one piece of dating advice on a billboard in Times Square. What does it say?
Oh, one piece of dating advice. Billboard in Times Square. Join Elixr.
I love it. That's a good one. Then they'll get all kinds of advice then.
Exactly. You get it all there.
There you go. That's perfect. That's perfect. I love these rapid fire questions. It makes you think, doesn't it, a little bit?
It
Um,
does. Yeah.
that's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a lot of fun. And I know our listeners are going to really gather some great insight. And what is the best way for any listener to reach out to you or to your team?
Yeah, just elixir.love, and it's ELIXR.love. So that is our website, and you can go there. You can download the app from the website. The link is there. You can reach out to us there as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you again. This has been fun, and I really appreciate you spending the hour with us this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.